So I don't consume social media myself.
Yeah.
So I would not have heard of this brand.
So you don't use social media yourself?
No.
Man, how'd you do that?
No,
I love that. The fact that you run a business and then you're
Yeah.
on social media. One of the things I'm most excited about season 14 is that we've got some exciting sponsors coming on board, and it's been a really long time in the making. So without further ado, a word from this season podcast sponsors. Let's face it, we all know the importance of a good, balanced nutrition diet, but the truth is it can get really challenging to get all the nutrients you need every single day when you're running a very busy lifestyle or even running your own business. And if you're anything like me, you probably don't want to resort to a multivitamin pill that is filled with chemicals, binders, and artificial ingredients. This is why I'm so glad that I found Vivo Life's Thrive. It's a revolutionary health supplement that has all the power of a multivitamin, but that is made with 100% plant-based and natural ingredients that you can actually pronounce and actually recognize. Things like kale, turmeric, baobab, or even spinach. It's been backed by over 50 independent studies and was actually formulated by a nutritionist. That's why each scoop holds the antioxidant equivalent of 10 servings of fruit and vegetables, along with 15 essential minerals and vitamins, including B12, vitamin D, and zinc. The truth is, you just never know what your day is going to be like. That's why I just make it really easy and simple for myself. I add a scoop in either some water, my shakes, or my tea. It's delicious, it's nutritious, and it gets me focused for the rest of the day, and my energy levels have never been better. And here's the best part in it all. Vivo Life was so confident in the quality of the product that they took over 5 years to design, that if you're not satisfied after 30 days, they'll give you a full refund, no questions asked, and you can even keep the product. If you want to try Thrive for yourself, you can go over to www.vivolife.co.uk and use the promo code MARK to get 10% off your first order. Podcasting is one of the most effective ways to grow your business, build an audience, and give your brand a voice. But the idea of launching can frankly feel a little daunting. What kind of gear or software should you use? What if you don't like the sound of your own voice? How to get great guests to come on the show? And how do you get people to actually listen once you've published your podcast? Well, you could go and find out on your own through trial and error, and that might take you forever. Or you could save yourself a ton of time and a ton of money by grabbing a spot on my brand new online video course, How to Go From Naught to Launch, that you can take from the comfort of your own home. That's right, I've made the process of launching a successful podcast from scratch super easy. So if you're ready and you want to stop wasting time, head over to theunconventionalist.com, click on online courses, and grab yourself a seat and use the discount code PODCASTTRIBE to get 20% off the entire program. I can't wait to see you in there, but more importantly, I can't wait to listen to your podcast. Hi, and welcome back to the Unconventionalists podcast. I'm your host, Mark Leruste, and this is the show about what it's really like to turn your message into a movement. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for season 14. This is episode number 1. So excited to be back. I even had like a beard trim, just making myself a little bit more beautiful for you. And I'm really excited about today's guest. We've been communicating a bit back and forth to get this in the diary. It's in the diary. I've been following this company for a while. Really love what they're doing. And of course, it's Josh Boulding, the co-founder of Vivo Life, that's coming here. We're going to be talking about the story, the vision, the mission, how it all started and where they're going, and also some exclusive announcement around this podcast, which I'm really, really excited to tell you about. Without further ado, Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
Yeah, I didn't screw it up this time, did I?
Not this time, no.
Yeah, because people think it's knit and crease. This is the second time we've recorded because I screwed up. But yeah, thanks for coming in, man.
Pleasure, dude.
Really
It's been a long time coming, right?
Yeah.
We've had cancelled flights in between us and vacations
Of course.
to France.
You were stuck, weren't you?
Yeah.
What
We
happened?
got there in the end. First world problem. We were in Austria shooting some content for a week.
Okay.
And
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, it was great fun, and it was an old ski resort. So it had like all the mountains, all the lakes, but it was beautiful sunshine when we were there. So we spent most of it just hiking, and there was this lake we went every morning where we did a meditation, did a cold plunge, and it was just the perfect way to start the day. But we got, on the day we were meant to fly home, we got an email 4 hours before from a well-known budget airline saying your flight's been cancelled. No reason, no context at all. And we were like, well, how are we going to get home?
Off, good luck.
Yeah, pretty much. And we called them and we said, okay, so is there another flight that we can go on today? Because we need to get home. We've got appointments and stuff. I have a podcast tomorrow. And they said, yeah, sure, there's another flight we can put you on. It leaves on Friday. And this was Tuesday.
No.
And there was like no remorse in their voice at all. And we were like, okay, we need to get home sooner than that. We all had stuff to do. So,
oh my gosh.
Long story short, luckily one of our friends was traveling to Munich that day. So we were able to hitch a ride with them, went across the Austrian border, ended up in Munich and flew home that evening. But by the time we got home, it was,
I remember you said it was going to become so late. And I remember going like, of course, man, no problem. Like, you're not going to rock up in London when you've just landed at midnight. But man, I'm really excited to get to the show, and we'll be talking a bit more about our collaboration that we're going to have. But I think one thing that's really excited is we talked about this when we connected offline, but people listening to the show know this story probably already. But many years ago, I had the vegan challenge where I was going to go off and change my body for 12 weeks and compete as an MMA fighter on a vegan diet to prove that you don't need meat in order to be strong and healthy. And so on that journey, I got sponsors, all this stuff. But one thing I realized really quickly is that it's really hard to find like a healthy, nutritious, high protein beverage on the go. And that's when I had this crazy idea of starting a plant-based protein company. All I did really, for full disclosure for people, I ordered some plant-based protein from another brand who I knew at the time, put it in my own bottles, put some labels on, put some milk, shook it together, did some shakes, and realized I didn't want to wake up at 5 a.m. making shakes every day. But the reason why I'm saying this is, plant-based in general has taken a huge turn over the last few years. It's become on everyone's kind of agenda. Everyone's been talking about it. But before we get into that, you co-founded Vivo Life.
Yes. For my sins.
Yeah. How did it all start? Because it was a website, right? You had a supplement website.
Yeah, and probably if you want the short story, it's very similar to what you were doing, in the sense that we wanted to create this product and we had this vision in our head, and we ordered a load of ingredients. We got in my business partner's kitchen and we mixed a load of things together until we had something we were proud of, and then we started bringing it to the neighbors and bringing it to our friends and family and saying, try this. And it sort of evolved from there. But that was a result of a couple of years before we created our own products. We had a supplement store, and we were buying different brands from all over.
So wait a second, I'm going to pause there just for a second. I'd love to go way back. So at what point do you get interested in health and nutrition and well-being?
When your own health goes down the pan and you look for solutions to it. And so probably...
That was your health?
Yeah. Probably when I was 18, 19, my health was not in a good way at all. And I was searching and a lot, and the traditional medical route didn't really give me any answers at all. So I invested all that time into, researching myself, trying things. A lot didn't work. Some stuff did, and building on it from there and learning the power that good nutrition, exercise,
sleep,
everything, man.
And water,
H2O. Green tea. And so when you get to the point where from the point where your health sucks to you're in a place where you have energy again and you can sleep properly again and you feel good. You want to help other people, because I was I've found it now, and imagine if everyone could feel this way. It would be
and imagine if someone else on the journey like you are is suffering or can't find the answers. What if I could actually help them, be a guide in some way, and just say, hey, look, there's this thing that I've discovered.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, cool. And so that's about 18, 19?
Yeah, around that age,
cool. And then how do you, do you remember the first steps you went from your own healing journey to certainly wanting to share with others?
Yeah, so my route in was into the supplement industry, which is the industry that I've stayed in. And I basically put my CV out to brands and said, look, I enjoy writing. Let me write for you for free.
Sure.
And I would do anything from blog posts to social media to anything that would just get me a foot in the door. Sure. And there was a lot of brands said, no, of course they did.
What you
just
mean?
A random kid. But some guys said, yeah, okay, cool, we'll take a chance. Here's some stuff we can do. And gradually I built up relationships with a few brands, a few supplement brands well known in the industry that I started doing content for. So I would do their social media, blog posts and stuff like that. But the closer I got to these brands, the more I realized what was going on behind the scenes wasn't really what I thought it should be, in the sense that when I got into the health industry, like I said, I did it to help people get fit, to get healthy and actually, help them on their journey. But it felt like this was doing the complete opposite. I got closer to the brands and they would say, oh, can you word this in a particular way so you don't draw attention to this ingredient? Or can you just pretend that side effect doesn't exist? And
diarrhea and vomiting and nausea.
Pretty much.
Because of the fake sugar we just put in.
Yeah, exactly. And you see those like the commercials for like a medication in America. I don't know if you've seen them, and at the end they'll read the side effects really fast.
Really fast.
And
I have heard that because it's legally required.
Exactly.
To say that, but they speed it up.
Exactly. It's the funniest thing, and sometimes they go on for like 30 seconds. Like side effects may include death. That was basically my job. I basically became a spin doctor, trying to like.
Hey, but look, it's got matcha in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's also got all this cancerous kind of stuff. But it's got matcha.
Yeah. And I got closer to these brands, and I actually realized that the people at the top of these brands had no interest in helping people get healthy whatsoever. They were just interested in making as much money as possible, cutting their profit margins as big as possible, and it did not feel like something I wanted to be a part of. And I got really disillusioned with the supplement industry.
Yeah. It must have been tough, because I'm guessing some of these companies or brands you might have used or you might have in the past kind of look up to, and suddenly you get an inside look into what's happening. And there must have been a point where you felt a little bit disillusioned, like, oh my gosh, like I'm part of a system now that I don't recognize. I want to be part of.
I felt gross because I know that having been from that place of not being healthy myself, I put my trust in brands to hopefully help me get better. And to know that there was other people in my situation who would be doing the same and actually is not what they think they're getting just felt very wrong. And that was when I was debating getting out of the industry completely. And this was when a job vacancy came up that was for a content writer for a company called Vivo Nutrition. And this was my business partner. It was his idea at the time, my now business partner. And we sat down and I explained like the feeling I had towards the supplement industry. And he was basically coming from a very similar place, albeit he didn't have the inside knowledge, but he wanted to create a marketplace for like the best supplements on the market that people could truly trust, that we would be completely transparent and show what ingredients we're using, why we're using them, that kind of stuff. But it would still be like an online health food shop. So we would still source
from other people, from other brands, but like, I get that. Cool. It's a little bit like, I don't want to say like like the fair trade stamp, but it would be like the Vivo Nutrition stamp was, hey, the products that we're putting online, the products we believe in, and here's like the nutritional kind of content.
Exactly. And that was our vision for it, like to be completely transparent and to say like, if the supplement is used in this store, then it's brilliant, it's kosher.
Got it.
And I said, look, I'm going to give it one last shot on one condition. And he was like, what's that? And I was like, I want to be partners in this. Like I want this to be a joint venture because we really shared the same vision. And we were both coming into it from day one. And he said, yeah, absolutely. Like we could tell we were there from the same values.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That was a bold move.
Yeah. And
when you think about it,
it was like I believe that, from you attract the right people into your life based on like the message and the intention you're following. And I believe like it wasn't a coincidence that our paths crossed at that time, and we were both at the same stage of our journey. We both wanted to make a difference. So we said, let's go for it.
That's cool. So this is Vivo Nutrition. So it's an online store. And again, so you're starting to like getting a bit like how okay, I'm always curious to like distill stuff, right? So you're starting off this platform. What kind of promo were you using? Like, how are you getting awareness around it? Were you using Facebook ads or Google SEO? Like, how did you getting people aware about this mission that you were on?
Yeah, so when we started, we realized that you can burn through your life savings very, very quickly in setting up your own business. We had very little experience in it. So the first 6 to 12 months was pretty much just word of mouth. Like we would go and do as many free events as we could. We would tell friends and family, and like I, being a writer, I'd spend a lot of my time making content, doing blog posts, that kind of stuff, just really trying to push our message out and exploit as much of the free marketing channels as we could. And gradually, as we started to like get a bit more revenue in, we would look into Facebook ads, and Google AdWords didn't really work for us, but it was like something that was worth trying.
Cool.
SEO, that kind of stuff, and gradually on a shoestring started to build it from there. Very, very slowly.
That's cool, man. Do you remember the first product you sold? Like, do you remember the first sale that came in through an email that said like you had a sale?
Oh yeah. But to be fair, the first probably 2 months of sales, we go, oh, we got a sale, and then we look and be like, oh yeah, that's my mum, and then it'd be like my next door neighbor. So the first one where I didn't recognize the name, and Dav didn't recognize the name, we were like, yes, we made it.
Get in.
Yeah.
Cool. How long did that take for like having the first stranger to buy a product?
probably about 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. Cool.
It was a very, very slow process, and we were both doing it around like our other commitments and stuff at the time.
Cool. And were you already like surfing and that, like, were you in sports back then?
I was into surfing then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I learned to surf probably around like 2012, 13.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And so you were in the community, and you're probably like, "Hey guys, you need some supplements."
Pretty much. Yeah. Like this. I'd say, this really
in your like wetsuit on the board in the sea. This is going to help with inflammation.
Yeah, and I'd be like, this will be the perfect, this exact product you need, and then I'd proceed to fall off my board because I've just been surfing for a year, and I'd be like, no, definitely don't need that.
Because you had already switched to predominantly plant-based or plant-based?
I hadn't, no.
Okay.
So again, this is where like the shift in Vivo started to happen. So when we started, it was purely from a place of health and helping people get healthy.
Yeah.
After about a year to 18 months of running the business, I had gone completely plant-based, and the website was probably like 95% plant-based at that time. Yeah. But that's when I said, look, to stay true to my values, and Sal felt exactly the same, that we wanted to get rid of the whey protein, the fish oil, that kind of stuff, and really align with our core message. And that's when things really that's when we started to get momentum, because now we had an identity. Now we had something we believe in and we stand for. Before it was like, okay, we have supplements for everyone. They're great supplements. You should take them. Yeah. But there was no real like hardcore raving fan. Yeah. Whereas now we're Vivo, and we know why we're here. Like we're here to spread awareness of a plant-based diet and that kind of stuff. And then that's when people started to come back again and again, because they believed in us and our message.
And you're clear, right? I love that because it's like kind of, now we're really taking a stand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's funny. I was on the way here, talking to a driver, and we were having a chat and talking about Brexit, right? And we were talking about the last European elections. I said, look, what's really interesting is if you look at the European elections, whoever had a clear stand on where they stood with Brexit had a much higher like turnout than those who were completely divided. So if you look at the centre, like Labour and Conservatives had a bit of a tough time. Yeah. But if you look at Lib Dems, did really well, Green Party did really well, and then the Brexit Party did well, right? And so again, it's because you're clear on what you stand, and you have to have the courage to say, we're not this, but we're this. Yeah. And we get that if you're into this, you may not be into us, but we believe that is enough to create a movement and create a community around. Message, and
that's a really powerful point, because I think at first, again, having no experience in this, we were like, we want to appeal to everyone. We want to get it out to the mainstream. Does, but you end up appealing to no one, because 100%. You don't have that core message. 100%. And fast forward to now, we'll get there in a minute, but now 60% of our customers are non-vegan. We have stats that show that, but it's because we're clear on our message. We have an identity. Then people are almost like, I want a bit of that. Like I want to be on the inside club, and like I'm curious. And if anything, it pulls our tribe closer, but it also makes other people
it's because I think when you're clear, it makes it safer for people to engage with, because it's like, whether you're plant-based or not, that's how I came across your products, even before we ever started talking. When I started, buying Vivo, was because I was like, here's a cool branding, and we'll get that. I want to go back for a second. Here's a cool branding, cool packaging. I like the mission. I like the fact that you were trying to make, zero emission, one of your goals. And the product tasted amazing. And I thought, because if you go on Amazon, because when I did my research for my plant-based protein company, I went on Amazon, I looked at all the critics of all the plant-based. If you haven't done this, you should do this one day. Just, you've got like 2 hours to lose. Okay. You go on Amazon, you check out all the plant-based protein companies, and you look at all the criticisms, all the ratings and reviews, and you look at the 1 stars and 2 stars. Okay. So I did that, right? Right. I can just save you the trouble. So I did all that, and I looked at what were the consistent negative messages coming back. One of them was packaging. Mm-hmm. It's a terrible packaging. It looks crap. It's hard to use. Every time I close it, it goes everywhere. Okay. Second one was texture. So it's lumpy. Mm-hmm. It's really gravelly. Like it's hard. Like it's not fluid. And the third was taste. Yeah. Okay. It tastes too earthy. Yeah. Like those 3 things. And I remember because when I did the company, I said, what I need to do is fix packaging, fix texture, fix taste. If I can do those 3 things, then I've got a company. But then I came across Vivo Life. I was like, well, that's done. Right. They've done it. So just go back for a second, just so the audience can follow the story. Yeah. So you've got the website. You now get clear about your values. Suddenly getting a bit of traction because, hey, we're actually plant-based, only plant-based products. Yep. At what point did you go, we're stocking product, we're going to make our own product?
Pretty much from the start, it was our vision. Okay. And we always knew that later down the line, we wanted to get there. And originally, like the idea we had in our head was a protein bar, but we decided that we wanted to go down the powder route because it just made sense for where we were at. Yeah. And we'd been experimenting with recipes for a long, long time. Yep. And it was in 2016, so 2 years after the main website launch, that we said, look, we're going to go for this. We're going to
So you launched in 2016?
Yes.
Do you remember the moment you pressed published and then it was live?
On the main product?
Yeah. No, sorry, on the website, on the actual website, when you actually launched Vivo Nutrition.
Oh, so before our own products? Yeah. Yeah, it was like 6 months behind schedule, and even then it was like a beta site. Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. So sorry, so you always had this vision of making your own product.
Yep.
And so now you're like 2016 and you're thinking about making your own product, but you were going to go for a bar, but then you're going for powder.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And the reason we went down that route is because we learned more about the brands we were stocking. We learned more about the people behind them. And I'm not saying they were doing it badly, but we felt we could do it better. We felt we had a better idea in our head. We felt there was obviously all the information coming out about heavy metals in products. And we realized that actually a lot of brands aren't testing for this stuff. And we want to create a really transparent product that tests for this stuff. It can taste better. It would have a better nutritional profile. So let's do it.
Okay.
So as I was saying earlier, we would buy all the single ingredients and make our own recipes and get people to try them. And it took taste and texture, you said earlier, they were the hardest things to crack.
I bet.
It's pretty easy to put good ingredients together and in a combination that has a good macronutrient profile, but getting the taste right is a very different thing.
And when we're talking about different nutrition, we're literally talking about, you would get like, I don't know, pea protein or hemp protein, and then you would get, dried blueberries or ginger or whatever. You'd get all these different ingredients, cinnamon, and then you'd try and mix them together.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, or exactly.
But neither of you were like nutritionists or cooks or chefs or
no. We just had this clear vision in our head of what we wanted to do, and the amount of powders that dropped through my letterbox and just like random like clear plastic bags.
Yeah. The police were like, "We think your son's got some heroin addiction problem."
Yeah, I don't think they knew. Actually, side note on that, have you heard of the vegan restaurant Purezza, not far from here?
No.
The pizza place.
No. Oh. Funny you mentioned that. I walked in front of a place and it had, where is it? I've 100% walked in front of it like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes from here. If you go out the station and sort of turn left and then go across, I think.
You go left. Yes, you go across down towards Chalk Farm. No, not Chalk Farm, Morning Crescent.
Okay.
And it's on the left.
Yeah.
Is it maybe?
It's on the left.
Something like that. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
And it says plant. Does it have a hashtag plant
powered or something like that?
Plant revolution, plant powered. That's the one. Yes, I saw it.
Yeah. So actually their owner or co-owner got busted at Gatwick Airport a few days ago because he had loads of powders in his suitcase, and he had like this suitcase full of like 25 bags of powder, and they thought it was drugs raid. It went all over the news and stuff. But that's basically what we were doing, just ordering in those random powders. And when we got it to a place where we were happy with it, we said, look, let's push go. What's the worst that can happen? And we actually sat this product in our store full of 500 other products and just sort of went, okay, see how you do.
Yeah.
And within 3 months, that one.
And what was it called? Vivo Nutrition? Or was it called Vivo Life?
So by that time, it had transitioned to Vivo Life.
Okay.
When we went plant-based, it transitioned to Vivo Life.
Okay.
Purely because our long-term vision is more than just supplements. And we felt nutrition was a bit limiting.
Yeah.
So we put this product in the store and just kind of said, right, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
And within 3 months, that one product was selling more than the other 500 combined, which blew our minds because...
Why do you think that was?
I think because it was something that we were doing that other people couldn't, because ultimately we tried to be this completely transparent website that had all this information, all these amazing blogs and articles and stuff like that. And that was great. People were coming and they were reading that and they were really taking our advice seriously. But then if they could find the product on Amazon for £5 cheaper,
they'd go and buy it.
Yeah, and like, how can you blame them?
It's price sensitive,
that? Exactly. Whereas this, we had full control of the price. This was the only place this product was stocked, and it was a very good product.
Yeah.
And then
and did you have the branding back then already? Did you have the whole Vivo Life, that like the really cool kind of... Okay, cool.
Yeah. And the protein that you see now is very similar branding, albeit it was in a plastic tub.
Okay.
So it's kind of that branding wrapped around a plastic tub.
Yeah.
And we launched it, and it did really, really well.
Yeah.
And within like 3 to 6 months of that, we were like, why are we selling these 500 different products that aren't really moving? We'd sell like 1 or 2 a day.
And where would you stock them?
Well, we actually had a warehouse started in my house.
What a fancy word for
right.
like I had a garage.
Yeah, pretty much. But then it did move to like our own sort of little office space, which was like 5 minutes away from me. Okay. But what I would do, obviously, you know what it's like running your own business. You wear many hats. Yeah. So I would wake up in the morning, put my customer service hat on, answer all the emails. Then I'd put my fulfillment hat on and go around to the office and pack all the orders and send them out. But we were sending like so little of all these products. We were having to manage all this stock, and like And then we had this one product that was really getting momentum, and we said, let's just cut the rest of them off and focus on this one thing and be really, really clear on our message and really just focus on that. And then that was when we really started to get traction, because people now not only do we have an identity, but we had a product that made us different and a product that made us stand out from the rest. So that was where.
Do you remember the first flavor?
So we launched with 2 flavors. So the raw cacao and the Madagascar vanilla.
Okay, yeah.
And they tasted like nowhere near as good as they did now, because it was based on our own taste buds.
Okay.
And you know what it's like, obviously, if you've been eating healthy for 5-10 years, like your taste buds are much different to someone who's just new to it. Yeah. So it wasn't really appealing to the mainstream. So we still had to do a lot of work with that.
What were some of like the mistakes that you made in the early stages? What were some of the things that you were like, looking back at it now, you know, I would so do it differently, or had I known this, I would have done this. Like, what was like some of the mistakes or stuff that happened?
You learn so much along the way. And I mean, as an obvious example, our packaging. Yeah. So we launched in these plastic tubs.
Yeah, which everyone used to do back in the day.
Yeah, and the reason we did that is because we actually thought this would be a more renewable solution, because they were recyclable plastic tubs. Okay. But the problem is a lot of people weren't recycling them. But actually, the emissions that were required to ship all these big tubs around the world was so much more than these like little like pouches that we have, which you can fit like 5,000 in a box compared to like 50. So the emissions were so much more, and it's costing us so much more in shipping. And we were so determined to have a recyclable option, because at that time there wasn't any recyclable pouches available. But then when we really sat down and had an objective head on, we realized actually this is creating so much more damage to the environment than having like a plastic pouch. Yes, it's plastic, but it's just so much easier to ship. So that's an obvious example.
Okay, I get that. Cool. And because I went through that road of trying to even look at how to create like, how did you come up with, okay, we've got a branding, you know, we come up with our vision, our mission, our colors, and then you've got the packaging. But then how did you go about, because again, you know, what I love about your story, and every time I've got some people on this podcast who started companies and products, you go, but where did you start like finding the pouches? Like, because you had to go online. There's not like website, how to build your company, like, you know, so you had to start sourcing. Like, I'm guessing you must have bought like a few different samples and you guys tested them out.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very long process. I mean, start to finish. Now we allow 9 months for new product development. Wow. Back then it was 2 years. So every product we wanted to bring out took at least 2 years. Yeah. Actually, one of our products, Thrive, took us 5 years before we launched it to the market. Okay. But that's because we really do our diligence. You can force a product out, but we wanted to make sure every step was taken care of, from the testing to the on the subject of testing. I've got a story which we'll get to later.
Please.
Ingredient quality, making sure it's all from places we know and trust, and so on. And it takes time, but
because that's a challenge. I've heard other people who started, you know, supplement companies say that one of the challenges they've had is that when they had their products tested by third parties, they'd find these particles, because the same factories that were producing their goods were also doing other goods like creatine or whatever. Yeah. And so some of the athletes they were sponsoring or fueling were getting cracked by USADA, because actually there was some particles of some of their stuff. Like, was that part of your process at the beginning of like, okay, how do we make sure that we have a clean product that we can trace like all the different ingredients, and we will for sure know that they're done in a really safe and healthy kind of way?
Yeah, and that's a big risk in the supplement industry, and that's why in 2018 we decided that we were going to make it ourselves. But back then we had a contract manufacturer, and our one criteria, well, we have many, but our main criteria was that it's a completely vegan manufacturer. Okay. So there's no, at the very least, there's no animal products coming in, right? So someone who's buying a vegan product knows that they're not going to get contaminated with dairy or you know, whatever else.
That makes sense. That must have been a bit like, again, you know, people listening to this, when you consume a product, you know, like you're consuming a bar, you're consuming a shake, whatever. You don't think about everything that gets into it. No. And I know I geek out on this stuff right now, because I'm just so fast to go the whole process of getting that product. So then you start, so then the vanilla and the cacao starts, you know, you're putting that out. It's working well. You've now focused on these two products. Then what? Then what happens? Like, do you start building the community around those products?
Pretty much, yeah. So the community started happening organically, and that was probably even before we had the protein powder, because we really focused on delivering value to the audience. So giving them information that they can like apply to their own lives, and just really focusing on being like a value-led brand. So that was starting to develop naturally, and we always knew that was where we saw the brand going. We really wanted to focus on like community building and like creating a culture behind the brand. So that was really strong. Okay. And then from there we were able to like grow the product range into more flavors of the protein powder, into different products, which we're doing now. And gradually just more and more sort of get our influence out there.
That's cool, man. It's really cool. And is there a flavor that you came out with that totally flopped? And you're like, no, this is a disaster. Like, we need to pull this out. Or like, we tried. Or it was like you had this great idea. It worked for you and your partner, but then you realized that nobody else liked it. Or
we're pretty careful with before we take anything to market. Sometimes too careful, and we will go backwards and forwards over and over again. And we will always do focus groups and get people testing it. So we're always very confident when we bring a product out. I remember the biggest switch that flipped was have you tried the salted maca caramel?
That was my favorite one.
Yeah,
I love that one.
Yeah, that's the one that everyone's kind of light goes on and they're like, whoa, this actually tastes good.
That was the first one I had. I had that
cool.
and I had vanilla.
Yeah.
Those are the two flavors I've kind of
awesome
fueled on.
Yeah, and that was when that came out because it was such an innovative flavor and because it tasted so good. That was when people really started to go, okay, I bought into the health benefits, I bought into the culture, but now I actually really enjoy drinking this.
Got it.
And that was and that I think that was unheard of for a vegan protein. Like the amount of times I would take protein powders and it's good for a protein powder, but I wanted something that
tastes good. You look forward to.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that. And so at what point in the journey, because a thing that I think is really interesting, especially in the conversation we're going to be having at some point, you start reaching out to influencers. Do influencers start reaching out to you? Because I think that was part of your strategy at some point, also kind of getting ambassadors of the brand. And I know for sure I've seen a bunch of ambassadors on YouTube, especially. At one point, did you and your partner going to sit down and go, hey, look, I've got this great product. How about we start looking at quote unquote influencers or online,
Yeah, and again, we sort of fell into it by accident. Influencer marketing. I didn't really know what influencer marketing was.
That's what it's called, influencer marketing. Yeah. Okay.
And it was in. So I think it was 2016.
Yeah.
Because we were at a trade show called Veg Fest, which is like a vegan trade show where like different brands will go. And we had a really, really small stand, and we were like, we've got the best product here. Why are we not standing out when these other brands that are swamped there?
Yeah.
And we had this tiny little 2x2 stand in the corner.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford the electricity, so we actually had a blender that was powered by a bike. So people would come up and you could make your smoothies there.
But you had to cycle.
You had to cycle it.
Yeah.
My vision for
I love that though.
Yeah,
it
was quite cool. I had this vision in my head of like everyone would come up and like, okay, cool, this renewable energy powered, let me get on the bike and make it. No one wanted to cycle, so I was pretty much cycling the whole time, just like blending these smoothies. Okay, all right, we'll go again. No one wanted to take the share. But there was...
And there's just two of you? There's just two of you still then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And there... So at VegFest, you have like athletes and people that will come and do talks and stuff like that. And there was a vegan bodybuilder who I'd never heard of called John Venus, who was doing a talk. And we were like, okay, let's go and see what he's all about. And basically he got off the stage. I had no idea like what his social media reach was like or anything like that. And I said, here you go, here's some protein. And he tried it and he reviewed it on his YouTube channel. And we turned on our website one day and we were like,
what's happened?
Where are all these sales coming from? Like it was like to the point where it was scary.
Yeah.
We were like, because I was packing the orders back then, I was like, I haven't got time to fulfill all these orders today. And there was orders coming in from like Norway and Spain and Portugal. And
because he's Brazilian Norwegian, isn't he? Something like that?
Yes. Yeah. Norwegian, and he lives in Spain.
That's it. Yeah.
So I was like, and then we logged onto YouTube like 2 days later, and we found out there was a notification that we'd been recommended by John Venus, and this video had like 30,000 views or something like that, and he was just honestly recommending the product, just saying, look, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. Went through our selling points, it's organic, it's heavy metal free, blah 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 blah, and like people like that really bought into it because he had that trust with his audience. And then we started to think, this because this is someone who spent years building up a platform and building up trust with his audience, and now if he recommends us, then people are going to like follow his word. So we were like, okay, maybe there is something in this influencer marketing. Again, I didn't know what it was called then.
Influencer marketing. That's it. You just taught me something.
Yeah.
Because again, one thing I forgot to say is that if you look at the ingredients of Vivo Life products, starting with the protein, you can pronounce all of them, and you can recognize all of them in the natural state, right?
Yep.
So you'll have like Himalayan sea salt and all that kind of stuff. And there's actually, I'll pause on the product because I want to continue the influence marketing. There's something that. Yeah. So you go to John Venus, and then did you reach out to him and saying, hey, thank you so much for this review. How would you feel about becoming our ambassador? Or
pretty much, yeah. So we said, again, just want to say thank you for the review. Like, if we can make this a long-term partnership, then we'd be really interested. And he was like, yeah, cool, let's talk. Because he had worked with a number of protein brands, but he'd never really found one that fitted with his values and that he was confident in promoting.
Yeah. So just to pause, just a really kind of funny, I was in contact with John years ago when I think he was starting off because he was living in London at the time.
Right.
I want to say he finished school or he was doing film school or something like that. And then he used to sell online products, I think he still does, but he used to sell like these online training programs. And back then it was like for vegans and non-vegans.
Right.
And I remember just like getting it was 2015, I think it was 2016, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I followed him and I just saw how much he grew his channel. Yeah. The channel, sorry.
Yeah.
And he's still consistent. And then through him I found another, I think one of your ambassadors, Canadian
Derek.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really cool. I like his channel as well. Calisthenic.
Yeah, really cool guy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
cool.
he's a holistic nutritionist too.
That's it.
Obviously, when you're working with people that have that credibility, yes, they're a YouTuber by profession, but they're also like they've spent 5 years studying nutrition, so they know what they're talking about.
Okay.
So we realized quite quickly with John, there must be more people like him out there, and we were really clear on what we wanted. We didn't just want to like go like scattergun approach and just work with anyone that has a following. We wanted to work with people that we felt could represent the brand in the right way, which means they share the same values that we do.
Yeah.
And within, I'd say like a year to 18 months, we had like 5 or 6 high quality ambassadors who were now part of the team, and they'd become the faces of the brand. So when people think of Vivo, they'd think, oh yeah, like I saw that on Derek's channel or John Venus or whatever.
That's cool, man. And without having names, did you partner with someone and it didn't work out and you were like, actually we're going to have to separate roads because of values or because of what you did or said? That happens along the way?
Yeah, there's been a few, and over time you learn like what you're looking for. And there definitely has been mistakes, but again, it's probably just a case of wrong fit for them, wrong fit for us, and
100%.
You move on. But now we're super clear on what we want, and we want to work with people who really want to work with us. They don't have to be. Back in the day, we would probably have to really persuade people. We'd have to say, look, come on, like
taste it.
What's your address? Please. Yeah, exactly. Whereas now, like we've got a bit of a bigger presence, and people will be like,
100%.
I really want to be part of this because it's a way for me to get my voice out there to spread this mission that they're on. And everyone now that we work with is really, really like laser focused on what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. That's cool. And your content's on it, man. Like I remember I saw one of your videos. Is it Darius, the caveman with
he's wicked.
Yeah, he did an amazing video. I think is it with Nimai? Was Nimai
the interview one that we did in LA?
He was in LA. I want to say it was in LA. I think there was like some of your ambassadors or something in LA, and there was like a kind of fast-paced montage video piece. And I just thought, again, it's and I know I'm biased in the sense that I like the product and I believe what you guys are doing, but I think it's people listening to this need to understand that up until Vivo Life, the plant-based supplement company was either a complete BDC line of conventional lines, right? That would have like a one product because they had to tick.
Yep.
Or there'd be some really funky products, like really earthy taste and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you managed to blend that with also a really compelling brand.
Yeah, and to be fair, that was like what we felt we could do differently because up until that point, veganism and plant-based products were very much seen as, okay, they're for hippies, or they're for people that aren't serious about their training, or they're for, just a mum who's trying to be healthy. We wanted to say, no, this is for people that can perform at the highest level and be healthier and stronger than ever, but they do it on a plant-based diet, which is why we were so careful with our branding, so careful with the ambassadors we work with, because we wanted to bring that into the mainstream consciousness and say, look, we believe that this is the way that is a good way to eat, and it's good for your health, for the planet, etc. And it doesn't have to come at the cost of your performance, or if you want to grow big muscles, it doesn't have to come at the cost of that. Like you can still do it all.
Yeah, I like that, and I also like the fact that, what did you say, 60% of your customers are non-vegans? Yeah, that's amazing. Because I can relate to that. It's a sense that like actually I want to also have a part of my diet or supplement that's ethical, organic, and stands for something. But then you expanded your range. To thrive.
Yes.
Took 5 years.
Took a long time. Yeah. And we've
Lots
still
of mushrooms.
We've still reishi mushroom, we should say.
Yeah.
We're still to this day like editing it, and there's still things we want to do and improve on. But our vision with Thrive was to create a natural alternative to synthetic multivitamins that people would take, because we recognized that a lot of people's diets aren't it's very hard. It's very hard to get every single, especially when you're busy. You know, you got kids or you got a high paced job or something. Like, it's very hard to get every single nutrient you need every day. But most multivitamins are packed with synthetic fillers and chemicals and flavorings, and they never seem to be like anywhere in between. So what we wanted with Thrive was to create a natural whole foods approach which people can take, and it can help supplement all the main things that your diet are lacking. For example, vitamin B12, vitamin D, probiotics, all of this stuff. But do so in a way that's natural, and it doesn't have to come with all the chemicals and the fillers that are in most multivitamins. So that was the vision with that.
I like that.
But it took a long time to bring that into fruition, because we'd have to get all the ingredients and test them and make sure that we had the right micronutrient ratio like between them, and we finally got there.
Yeah, so I just want to underline what you're saying, because you know, I just got out of an interview today, and we were talking about, you know, millennials and in the workplace especially. And I was talking about, like, it's about vision, purpose, and mission. Like, get those right, and in order to get those right, there needs to be a bold, you know, what I think it's called like a big, hairy, audacious goal. And that's what the B has for sure, right? And it's that what you're saying there is like, we want to create the first organic, whole food multivitamin with no synthetics, no fillers, no, you know, artificial flavors, all this kind of stuff. And most often you'll come up with this idea, and it's bold because you don't know if you can do it. You don't know how long it's going to take you to do it, but it's mission, and it's what they call, you know, the moon landing mission. NASA for a long time. Is it NASA or NASA? I never know how to say. Anyway, wanted to land on the moon. And they did that in such a bold way 50 years ago, and it got everybody to drive towards a common goal, whether you agree with the amount of money that was spent on that, you know, mission or not. But the point is, once they landed on the moon, they didn't have a new mission. To compel the next generation to kind of go, hey, here's our new moon, if you like. And is that still driving you today? The idea of becoming the whole food company that provides organic, healthy supplements?
So actually our mission statement is to improve the health and well-being of 1 million people around the world. So again, you talk about bold, audacious goals. Like, we're nowhere near reaching 1 million people, but we want to. Like, in 3, 5, 10 years time, we want to have been able to help 1 million people improve their health.
Is that? And how would you quantify that? Is it a million customers or 1 million products that you've?
1 million customers, 1 million individual customers. And through that comes our greater mission, right? Which is spreading awareness of a plant-based diet, helping people to make more ethical choices. Like you said, 60% of people are non-vegan, but that's awesome. For me, that's where the magic happens, because the person that can swap their whey protein to a plant-based protein, it tastes just as good. It makes them feel even better, and there's no animals harmed, there's no environmental damage as a result of it. And that's brilliant. Like, that's where we can make the biggest impact. So we want to keep reaching. I want that number to grow. Like, I want more non-vegans and more people that are just getting into like the plant-based way of life to come to us.
And I think a lot of people, because one of the things also that I'm really excited about having you on the show and really excited to be talking is, actually I reached out. He said, look, I love your products. And I'd love to invite you to become the first sponsor of the podcast. And we had this conversation, and we were like, let's do this. Let's find a way to do it. So I'm really excited to have you as the first sponsor, official sponsor of the Unconventionalists. And how is that for you? Because I know this is a new territory for you. You know, we were talking about podcasting. You're like, hey, you know, we've been interesting actually. So how's that journey for you to have been approached by me talking about a podcast, and you kind of going, okay, should we go for this podcasting thing or not? How's that been?
It's really interesting, because like you said, it is completely new territory for us. But so was influencer marketing 3 years ago, and I would say that podcasts are now where Instagram was 3 years ago. They're really, really getting traction, and more people. I know that's my favorite way to consume information, and so many people I feel the same. And again, we wanted to be totally clear on the kind. If we do go down this route, who do we work with? Like, do these people, are they spreading the message that we want to spread? So when you contacted me, that was when I went, okay, right, let's go through the back episodes and see if this guy's legit. And thankfully here we are.
Man. No,
I'm really excited about it, because I think Instagram, for all of its benefits that it has, is very surface level. And something like podcast, you can really get to know the person, the presenter, and all the guests a lot deeper. So I thought, number one, it's a good way for us to share our story more, because we pride ourselves on transparency, and we can go as deep as you want on ingredients and testing and everything like that. But also, like, they're buying into the reason your audience listens to you is because they buy into you as a person as well, not just because you have this beautiful image on Instagram that they don't really know you. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, I don't think you can survive in podcasting if you're not willing to be honest.
Agreed.
Real. I just don't think. I think Joe Rogan said this best. I think he basically said something like, "There's no way that you can have an unscripted conversation with someone for like 2 hours, whatever it is, and not get to some truth."
Yeah,
like it's impossible. And I've had a handful, not even a couple of guests who not really willing to go there and a bit more resistant. But I don't think you can survive in podcasting if you're fake and corny and just not willing to go there.
I agree.
So just this is going to sound like a random question, but like, what would be like what would need to happen by the end of season 14? You and I, we go out for a smoothie. Mm-hmm. You take me out to the only wave in Norfolk.
Brilliant.
Once a year.
Yeah.
Like, what would you want to look back and go, hey, this was really valuable. This was really cool. This was worth it. Like, what would the different metrics, what would that look like for you?
So for us, like connecting with a new type of customer, I think, because again, we've always reached out to people that are consuming Instagram and Facebook and these kind of media, and there's obviously, so I don't consume social media myself, so I would not have heard of this brand.
So you don't use social media yourself?
No.
Man, how'd you do that?
No,
I love that. The fact that you run a business and that you're not on social media.
So I do.
But do you use it under Vivo Life?
Yes, yeah. So I will log on, and if I'm posting, like we have people that are managing it now, but if I am posting, I'll log on and post, but I don't have like personal social media because it doesn't serve me, so I don't consume it. Right. But I consume so many podcasts. Mental health?
Like just feeling good about yourself, or is it just about you feel like you could spend too much time comparing yourself or consuming? Like what's the?
I've never got that deep in it. I've never got to the point where I've been like, whoa, I need to step back because I'm consuming too much. It's always pulled me out of the present moment, and I've never felt satisfied hitting that. They liken it. So they say actually social media was built by the same people that designed casino games, because it's that roulette of like you're pulling a lever and you're hoping for something exciting to come up.
Oh my god!
So like you're scrolling through and you'd be like, oh, okay, jackpot! Like and then you get that little dopamine rush of you got 10 likes on that post, or so and so commented.
And the executives of those companies don't allow their kids to be on technology. I mean, that's like Steve Jobs famously said that he didn't allow his kids to have iPads. Mm-hmm. I mean that's what
there you go.
I'm reading a book at the moment called Unplugged Parenting. I've talked about. I'll talk about it in the show a bit more at some point, but. Effectively, it's a psychological nurse, a child psychologist, beg your pardon, who worked in the NHS, I think, for 15, 20 years. And she's seen how technology has impacted kids and the evolution of children, and from a physiological perspective and mental and all that stuff. And it's alarming. Like, it keeps me up at night. Yeah. I'm not even joking. I'll read this and I'll be like, oh,
scary, right?
Exactly what you're saying, kind of. It's so addictive. Mm-hmm. It's so easy. And we were talking about this by my partner. We're kind of lined around this. We're taking a complete left turn just for a second here, Josh. And we're talking about this because her brother's about to become a dad as well. And we were looking around us, and it's so easy to put kids in front of iPhones. And I'm not judging. I'm saying this with zero judgment.
Of course.
I so get it. Why you would give your kid a pacifier under the form of an iPhone, a pad, whatever it is. Trust me, I'm pretty sure I'll slip and I'll do it. But we really want to try and be intentional about it.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy. And have you never been on social media, or did you go and then you pulled out?
Yeah, like very, very early. Like I've never been on Instagram, never been on Twitter or anything like that. I had Facebook way, way back in the day. I think that account went in like 2010 or something.
Dude, that's so cool.
And I brought my Facebook account back because I need it from a business point of view, because I want to engage with the Vivo community, and we talk in like, we have our private Facebook group and stuff like that. So stuff like that's brilliant. But I've got like 7 friends on there, so I can log in, I don't see anything, and then get to leave. You say that though, like, so obviously I'm here saying social media doesn't work for me, but I've seen firsthand what a powerful tool it can be. A, from growing a business. Okay. Obviously, over the past few weeks, we've had some heartbreaking news about what's happening in the Amazon. Yeah. None of that would have got into the mainstream attention if it had not have been for social media. If it had 100%. Not have been for people who heard about this, cared enough to share it, and then the mainstream news outlets had no choice but to report on it, because suddenly it was everywhere. Up until a few days ago, it just wasn't being reported. So, 100%. And if it wasn't for that, then perhaps it would have been too late. Like maybe word hadn't have got out there. I don't know. I think the issue with social media is the way we use it, and I think we will look back in 10, 15 years time and realize how irresponsible we were.
Oh my God,
it.
I keep on saying that.
No guidelines on how to consume, no age barriers, no limits.
100%. I've been saying this. I've been saying that our kids will ask us, wait a minute, you used to have unprecedented access to your devices at work?
Right.
And no, nothing. Like right now, there is no governmental policy or guidelines around social media technology use. In 10, 15 years, it'll be like, the same thing with alcohol or tobacco or gambling or biscuits.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't leave your kid with a packet of biscuits unattended.
Nope.
You'd be like, hey, have a biscuit, whatever, That's mad. Crazy. Cool. And so, I've got so many other questions. We're coming to the end of the interview that went by so fast. So so Thrive, just talk about really quickly. So that was like, you wanted to do a range of, how would you describe Thrive? Like in your own words, how would you describe that range?
So it's a natural alternative to synthetic multivitamins and minerals.
Okay.
So the idea is that we've brought a load of different whole foods together, nutrient dense, organic whole foods, and some supplemental nutrients too. So things like vitamin B12 you can't get from whole foods, so it has to be supplemented.
Yeah.
And brought these together and created this one greens powder, which you can easily add to a smoothie or a juice or whatever. It's a really good way to know that you're covering all your essential nutrients. So that was the vision with that product.
Got it. And then what's nootropics?
So nootropics is it's anything that you can consume to improve brain health.
Okay.
And whether that's like immediate cognition or like long-term cognition, it refers to something that you would use. Yeah.
Got it. There you told me something, because I keep on hearing about this thing about nootropics. And because what was the like? How did you go about coming up with your turmeric latte concoction of coming up with that? What did you call the mushrooms? That was a special term you used.
So there's reishi mushroom in one of them, but there's different kinds of medicinal mushrooms across the range.
Yeah.
That came from me. Actually, the obsession started. You mentioned Joe Rogan earlier. There was a Joe Rogan episode with a guy called Paul Stamets, who is a mycology expert. In other words, he studies mushrooms.
Yeah.
And for 3 hours, he proceeded to talk about all the ways mushrooms can benefit people's health and the planet and the environment and all this stuff. And I was like, jaw on the floor for 3 hours. It was absolutely brilliant. I was like, I have to know more. And so I spent like a year, 18 months. Like obviously I'm running a business too. It wasn't a full-time pursuit, but I'm studying mushrooms so much because I was so fascinated by their ability to like do so many different things. And I was like, we have to get these in our products. So the first step was reishi mushroom went in our Perform protein powder. And reishi is like it's got anti-cancer properties. It's really good for the immune system, reduces inflammation. And we were like, something like that is perfect in a protein powder. You're having it after a workout. You want to recover. You want to fight inflammation. And these ingredients are pretty new on the market, but you look back and they've been used for thousands of years in Chinese medicine and
100%.
Indian medicine. And so that they're definitely not new. And the lion's mane mushroom went into Thrive. Lion's mane is actually a nootropic that we were speaking about earlier. Yeah. It's a really fascinating mushroom. So it looks like a brain.
Okay.
It's like this weird brain-shaped mushroom, like the spongy kind of like grey thing, grows on trees. And it actually has been proven to help reform neurological pathways in the brain. Okay. So it's actually now being clinically trialed for Alzheimer's and dementia and depression because it helps reset those neurological pathways. Crazy. So yeah, it's mad. And so we got that in Thrive and we were like, this is going to be an ingredient. And I started taking it and really, really felt the benefits of something that, so that went in Thrive and we were like, no, we have to do more. And we really want to make these mushrooms center stage. And that's when our magic range came in because we were like, okay, how can we have a bit of fun with these mushrooms, make them center stage and make a really easy and convenient and good tasting way for people to consume them. Yeah. So we have the turmeric latte, which now has the lion's mane mushroom in it. So it's a great, like a really nice drink that you can sip. It tastes really good. It's obviously got all the anti-inflammatory benefits of the turmeric. And if you're at work, then something like lion's mane mushroom is just brilliant to have because it will just keep you focused, keep your cognition going throughout the day. Yeah. So cool. Yeah.
I love this stuff. I think it's crazy.
I geek out about it so much. Yeah.
I bet. So what keeps you up at night?
No, nothing. Nothing. No, I don't.
Is like I ask you that question. I often ask the question around when you run a business. Is there like do you wake up sometimes nightmares going like a factory burned down or that supplement that we launched came back with a problem? Like is there anything like? Or are you just mellow in general? Like you're pretty chilled.
Like I just said 3 years ago, there would have been a lot, but the longer we've run a business for, the more I've realized that we will make mistakes. Yeah. I will make mistakes. My staff will make mistakes, but there's been nothing that has been so bad. It has been like the end of us yet. Okay. And that all that energy worrying about it. Yeah. I will actually tell you this story about the testing because
please.
It ties in really nicely. So, Mark, when's this podcast going to be released?
October. It'll be around the 7th. This is the first episode, so I believe it'll be this coming out around the 17th of October. I want to say.
Brilliant. So the news will be out then. Okay. So we are creating a vitamin B12 supplement. Okay. And vitamin B12, for those that don't know, is a nutrient that you can't get on a plant-based diet because it's only found on animal food. So if you are eating a vegan or a vegetarian diet, you should supplement with vitamin B12.
What is, okay, just sorry, I'm just going to make it really basic. Why is B12 an essential supplement or vitamin that we need to have in our diet? What does it actually do?
It's required for energy maintenance, immune system regulation, brain health, and nerve health. Okay. So if you are deficient in B12, then the first thing you will notice is your energy level will start to go. Okay. Long term, if it gets really, really bad, you can actually get irreparable nerve damage from B12 deficiency. Okay. All
right, people, if you're listening to this and you're on a vegan or plant-based diet, get your B12 in you.
Yeah, definitely supplement with it. And so actually, fun fact about vitamin B12, the reason you can get it on an animal-based diet or down at the diet that includes animal foods is
dairy
because...
or cows or something like that?
Well, it's found in animal products. So it's found in meat. It's found in dairy products and chicken and beef and so on. But 90% of the meat that we get on the market, the animals are actually supplemented with B12. So the animals are given a B12 supplement.
So you get the diluted version.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just a third-party B12 supplement. And the reason B12 is so hard to get is because it's a microbe that's found in the soil, but because of over-farming and
cleaning and I remember that. Someone said you could eat a carrot that's out of the earth, you could get some B12, but it's so
unreliable.
Sterilized.
Yeah. In theory you could, but the soil quality has got so poor that B12 just basically doesn't exist. So it has to be supplemented. Anyway. We're creating a vitamin B12 supplement. Yeah. And we brought this product to market. We've spent, again, the last 18 months formulating it. It's a liquid B12. It's a dropper of B12. And we got this product back. I had it in my house like 2 weeks ago. We took it out to Austria and was doing filming with it. Beautiful product. The design is brilliant. It tastes amazing. It's like really professional bottle. It's been made to all our high quality standards. And as part of our procedure that we follow, that a lot of other companies don't, is that we test all of our products independently before they're released to the market. Right. So this product, we tested it and it came back, clear for pesticides, clear for herbicides. We thought, because obviously everything's sourced organically. Heavy metal check. High levels of lead. And we were like, shit, like how has that happened? We went through every single ingredient, looked at the certificates of analysis, like nothing, lead is not coming up. Yeah. And we were racking our brains for weeks trying to work out where this lead had come from. And it turns out that, so it's in, have you ever seen those like supplement pipettes, dropper bottles you get where you can squeeze it and then, so this is the format that the supplement is in. And we bought this pipette dropper bottle that we were told was food grade and it had a food grade ink on the dropper bottle. Turns out that ink actually contains lead, and some of that of that ink was actually being at a microscopic level dissolved into the liquid, which was causing the final product to have high levels of lead. No way. Now, we only found this out because we tested it and we actually go to the very expensive procedure of third-party testing our products before they're released on the market, because that's our standard. But these bottles are used throughout the supplement industry. This is like one of the number one suppliers. And we were in Planet Organic the other day, literally last week. And we were saying, right, I wonder if the other B12 have this problem. So we bought a liquid B12 product, got the pipette, wiped our finger down it, and all the ink just went into the bottle. So ours hadn't even got that far. So this was literally the whole ink had dissolved.
So this is just to clarify. So you look at the pipette. I love that. It's like a pipette. I don't know why. And on the pipette, it says ink. So there's something.
Yeah, so it shows like how much you would consume. So it's like half a milliliter, 1 milliliter, 1.25 milliliters, and it's written on the pipette.
Got it. And so that is what the ink was.
And so that ink was actually dissolving into the final thing. And we were told this was food grade ink, but clearly it contains high levels of lead that took it beyond the safety limit of lead. We made 8,000 of those vitamin B12. We'd sent them out to 4 different warehouses across the world. And we've
ready for a
launch. It was supposed to be the end of August. And we were like,
we have to call that back.
They've had to be quarantined. Yeah. But unfortunately, when you sign yourselves up for third-party testing, one of the things that makes us different is we third-party test all our products. We actually transparently show the heavy metal results of all of our products on our website. You can download them at any time. Yeah. When you sign up for those tests, obviously you see a lot of results that you want to see. Sometimes you're going to see stuff that you don't want to see, and that's when you have to take action. Yeah. So we were like, to be true to our values, we cannot sell this product, and we've had to destroy them all and put the launch back 2 months.
And so have you found now a bottle
so
that has
so the bottle that we have, it actually has so it's engraved glass, and the ink is an unleaded ink, but it's also locked into the inside of the pipette. Okay. So the liquid cannot touch it and it cannot dissolve.
Because it's inside.
Because it's inside, so
sense.
it's like blocked in.
Yeah.
And
that's mad.
We paid like 4 times as much for this pipette. Who knew?
How many times the word pipette can be said in one podcast?
The crazy thing is, I'm now a pipette expert as well. Like, I've researched every single pipette on the market. I've contacted all these different suppliers, and like these things you don't even like sign up for. Yeah. But
could you with the
that kept me up for a couple of nights.
Yeah.
By the way.
Would the 17-year-old or 18-year-old Josh recognize the Josh today?
No, number one, my hair's a lot longer.
That's what happens when you surf and you eat great smoothies.
You got to fit the cliche, right? No, not for a number of reasons. Like, that time in my life, like, feels like it was a different chapter. Obviously, it was one of growth, and but it is very night and day, like how my path has gone, and I'm really proud of it. Like, I'm proud of the direction that I've gone. Yeah. I hope that if 17-year-old Josh didn't recognize me, I hope he'd say, well, actually, he's a really cool guy. Yeah. Because, like, I've grown into the person that I probably deep down wanted to be, and just hadn't found that person yet. Yeah. How about the 17-year-old Mark?
Mate, he would so not recognize.
Yeah, there you go.
No chance. I was like selling weed back then. 17, there's no chance he would recognize me. He'd be like, what? You talk about feelings? Yeah. And you talk about people's, like, lives and stuff? Yeah. No, he wouldn't, man. It's the... Yeah, I think, and that's what fascinates me about these conversations, these stories, is that you know, and again, I think it's easy to look at the company, the brand, whether that's your company or the other guests that come on the show, and neglect the whole journey to get there. You know, you didn't just start becoming an expert in pipettes from the get-go. You know, you had to
put that on my LinkedIn.
Yeah, pipette connoisseur, enthusiast, mushroom enthusiast. But it's just a really cool story, and that's why when we connected, I was like, I really love even more the story behind the actual brand. So what's like, is there someone who you're inspired by or who you look up to, or you're like, we would love to become that version in our field? Is it like a company, whether that's in surfing or I don't know, in sports, or something that you can go, that's a company doing some really cool stuff, or is it not even a comparison?
No, I try and take stuff from every person and every person I meet, every company I see. Like, I'm sure you don't get to a high level for no reason, right? You're probably doing something a lot better than we are. I really admire the model that Patagonia have followed. Yeah. And how
that's
a
good model. That's a good one to base.
Yeah, and how they're so driven by a purpose rather than by profit. Yeah. And that's, like, again, I was only aware of them like 6 months ago. How crazy is that? I'd never even heard of the brand.
That is mad.
But now, like, I've read books and stuff, and very inspired by the way
people surf.
Yes. Yeah.
Was it Schwinner? I forgot his name.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Yvonne
Schwinner. That's it.
Yeah, and just very inspired by the way that they continue to focus on their mission rather than, again, the reason we didn't get into this market to get rich. Like, we did not expect Vivo to grow to where it is, but now we're realizing that as we grow as a brand, we have more influence, we have more power to make a difference in the world, and that's the thing that lights me up the most. And that's if I think about where Vivo is going to be in 10 years, I don't think of the revenues and the dividends and everything like that. I'm thinking, okay, we can actually play a major part in turning this planet around, or so I hope. That's like how I vision it.
That's really cool, man. Like Patagonia have got some amazing values in place, and I love how, I don't know if you heard about this, but at one point they were having a bit of a tough time. I don't know if I remember if he talks about it in the book. And they all went somewhere in South America, got the core group together, and he basically said, here are our values. Yep. And like one of them was no fast fashion. Like, we're not going to buy into like the 16 seasons a year, or know. And all their products are guaranteed for life. Mm-hmm. And that they actually tell you, don't buy more stuff. Get your stuff repaired. Yeah. And they've got these like areas where you can go and drop your stuff, and they'll help you repair it. And sometimes you've got like a patch, like a purple patch on like a blue jacket. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really cool, man.
It's brilliant.
And so you talked about, in the next 10 years we want to change. What do you see the next 3 years, next 3 to 5 years look like for you?
So there's new products we want to bring to the market. There's a lot of ideas we have there.
Yeah, more pipettes.
More pipettes. Oh, dude, if I see it, but yeah, really, like, for me, it's the sustainability aspect that I think we're going to make massive strides in. So obviously we've got the compostable packaging, which has just launched, and now we're moving completely away from plastic pouches, and we're going to 100% compostable, zero waste packaging. And again, we talk about the process that is involved in creating something like that, but that's taken us over 2 years to create, because not only did we get, this packet's home compostable, tick, let's make it. We did tests to make sure it actually properly composts, tests to make sure it's safe for worms and soil microbes, and it doesn't pollute the soil. Test to make sure it's safe for marine life and that it can biodegrade in marine conditions. So it's taken a long time.
So that means that the package, you could literally use the packet in nature or in the sea, and it would somehow dissolve.
Yeah,
I'm not saying people listening to this going, let's see if Josh and Mark are chatting shit, and then throw the bag in the sea.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, you could. You're much better off either doing it at home composting, or industrial compost. So if do you have like a food waste collection?
We do. Probably have in place. Yeah.
So you can literally just put it up, and then they would take it for industrial composting. Simply because it will then break down in 12 to 24 months. Whereas if you were to put it in, you just go to your park and chuck it. Yeah. Number one, I'd probably have like environmental health calling me up saying like, why is there all these in like Vivo Park or something? Yeah. But also like it could be hazardous to wildlife. Like like they could get in it before it's composted or something like that. So compost of it properly, but it basically will return to the soil. Okay. So it's gonna.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Really pleased with that, and that is where I see Vivo continuing to go in the next 3 to 5 years.
Being a pioneer in
really making an impact. We're the first, as far as I'm aware, we're the first supplement brand in Europe to be doing this kind of technology. Cool, and I really want to like keep pushing that forward and keep like. So we're a carbon neutral company. We got our own factory now, and it's powered by renewable energy. Okay. And we really want
cycling on a bike.
Huh?
Is there a bike?
Yeah, exactly. There's me
the whole team.
Yeah,
Josh in the back.
Exactly. Yeah. Not far from it.
Yeah.
And this is where we want to keep going and really keep making the impact there. And what that looks like from a product development point of view, who knows? Yeah. I want to be able to actually open up our factory soon and be able to have people come in and bring their reusable containers and fill up their favorite products in a zero waste fashion, so they don't even have to buy it online or something. Okay. Maybe eventually we'd like to have like a superfood cafe or like a flagship store where people can go in and try our products, get smoothies,
Tom's?
that kind of thing.
Have you heard Tom's, the shoe company?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so when I was in LA, I remember this is years back, 2013, 14, maybe something like that, when I used to be country manager at November, and I thought it was such a cool concept. They had a store in LA where, they had the shoes and sunglasses and that kind of stuff, but there was also a little area, like a little community area where they had yoga classes, they had books, they had like a little fireplace we could go and hang out. Yeah. And like a little coffee kind of place. I think now they're in coffee and stuff, but I thought it was a really cool concept of how to make more than just a shoe shop. Mm-hmm. How to actually take a concept and create a community around that. Is that what kind of like one of the visions of?
Definitely, yeah. And again, like we mentioned earlier, we've always been a very community-led brand. So if we can have this space where people can come in and maybe do like a workout, and then they can go for a green juice, and then they can read some products about plant-based diets, and maybe even like have their own like personal nutrition consultation or whatever, however that looks, like that's something that's whirring around in my mind, but there's still a lot more to do in the product space first.
Cool, man. What are 3 things that you're most proud of?
Okay. I'm just thinking, like, because I've got my Vivo head on, I'm proud of the environmental impact we make and how we continue to like prioritize sustainability. Recently, everything that happened with the Amazon, we said, okay, look, for every order on our website, we're going to plant 10 trees as a result of that. And we managed, just in the last 2 weeks, we've planted over 15,000 trees as a result.
That's cool,
so
man.
That's something that's like immediately coming to mind. Yeah. So taking Vivo away from it, the thing that makes me most proud is like how I'd say the growth I've had as a person over the past 5 years as a result of Vivo, but obviously as a result of everything outside. And probably like one of the proudest moments I had was again back in Austria like 2 or 3 weeks ago. When I left, I got this beautiful video from everyone who was there, all of my friends, some of our ambassadors, like, and they made this video like just basically thanking me for everything I do. It's like this tiny real like touch, but it just made me realize that like I'm becoming the kind of person that I want to be, and there's still steps to go to get there, but on a human level, that's probably the thing that makes me most proud.
It's cool, man.
Like,
that's 2, but I'll leave you with that.
Okay, we'll stick with that.
Maybe before we get to the last round of questions, I want to acknowledge you. generally for having created and having the courage to see something that needed to be fixed.
Thank you, bro.
Something that needed to be done, and that you went ahead and did something about it. You didn't just sit back and complain.
Yeah.
And that you actually went about it. But more than that, that you went the distance to sticking true to your values. And it's fun in hearing your story to go, had you not gone through that content, freelance marketeer process of avoiding, hey, it's giving you bowel, like the shits basically, but hey, it's got, this great ingredient. You might have not been so anchored and really committed to creating a brand that was going to be super healthy and transparent.
100%.
So that's really cool. And also thanks for creating a cool product that's tasty for people who are not vegan, who also want to increase and better their health and be able to taste that product. And I say this regardless of the fact that we're entering a partnership around the podcast. I wholeheartedly mean that.
Thank you, man.
And I'm really excited to see where this goes. And
likewise.
And if ever I'm in LA, when you do one of your reunions, when I saw like on online social media, I'll come and say holla to the group.
Definitely,
really
man.
Cool.
That'd be wicked.
What's one thing that most people don't know about you?
There's a lot that people don't know about me because I'm not on social media. Yeah. Putting me on the spot now. I feel like I'm going to say something really lame.
Doesn't matter.
We'll come back to that one.
Sure, no problem.
I'm wondering how much you want to give away.
Yeah. You have a think about it. It's a question I ask every guest.
Okay.
Every guest on the show comes up. Before we end this conversation, I have to come up with something.
Okay.
What does being unconventional mean to you?
It means doing things differently. And I know it's a very obvious answer, but again, when you hit me with the name Unconventionalist and you told me about your podcast, it felt like such a good fit because we've never really followed the conventional route. Me personally, leaving school at 16, going into something that I knew really nothing about, and but as a business, like again, we're not following the typical mindset. So I think if you do things that people have always done, you'll get the same results that have always been there, and you'll never do something new. Whereas if you're courageous enough to walk your own path, then you will probably like go a lot further than you thought. But if you don't, then you'll learn a valuable lesson. I remember, I think it was Jim Carrey who said that something along the lines of my dad always wanted to be a comedian, and he would have been a great comedian, but he was scared of what people might think of him, so he became an accountant instead. But when he was 12 years old, he got fired as an accountant, and that taught me that you could fail at doing anything, so you may as well fail at doing something you love. I
love that one.
And I think that's like totally true.
Love that. So you know Piccadilly Circus in London? There's this big digital board. I've got to stop saying the name of the companies that advertise. Like, where there's that brand, I'm not going to give some free promo to them. Right. But imagine there's a sentence you could write that everyone walking by would look up and read. What would that sentence be?
Okay. I would say something along the lines of think less, feel more. Because I know that the best decisions I have ever made are the decisions where I've got out of my own head and I've listened to my heart, or I've listened to my gut instinct, and I've been brave enough to follow it. A lot of the time when I get in my head, I overthink stuff and I go round and round and round. And of course there's a time for logic. Of course there's a time for analytical thinking. But I feel we are so wired up to be in our heads so much all the time that when we actually come down and think, okay, no, what is my heart really telling me? Then that's when the real magic can happen. So maybe
I love that. Think less, feel more.
I think
so. With that wisdom, without the think less, feel more, what would be something that most people don't know about you that you can feel into? That you feel
I really got nothing. I would say I'm a huge football fan because most people, whenever I'd say I'm going to the football this weekend, people are like, Josh, why are you going to the football? Like they just think I'm like this guy is going to sit around at the weekend meditating all day, or like going surfing, or like going to climb a tree or something. But I'm a big football fan, and that always seems to shock people a lot. So
cool. What football team do you follow?
West Ham.
West Ham.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I've got a question for you. What was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo was actually this one. So this is the Earth alchemy symbol. And again, it like represents my connection with the Earth. And also like, again, everything I try and do is like planet focused and focused around like helping the Earth. So that felt like the right tattoo.
I like that. Josh, mate, I loved it. It's been really cool. Looking forward to more conversations. Where can people find out more about Vivo Life? They can go over to vivolife.
Yeah, website vivolife.co.uk.
Yeah.
We've got again, if you're interested in improving your health and fitness, even if you're not interested in supplements right now, we've got loads of cool blog content, loads of videos and stuff that can actually hopefully help you. The reason we set up Vivo Life was to help people. So if you're struggling with digestion or energy levels or whatever, then go on there, you might find something. Instagram Vivo Life, Facebook Vivo Life, etc. And we're trying to get more and more involved in the event community too. So we've got Veg Fest in October if anyone wants to come down.
You've got a bit more than a 2x2 stand now.
Yes.
And a bike.
Yeah, we'll have a bit of a bigger presence this year.
Cool. Josh, been a pleasure, mate.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The very first episode of season 14 with Josh Bowling, co-founder of Vivo Life and the brand new sponsor and partner of the Unconventionalists. That's so cool. It's so cool to say that out loud now. I've been holding on to be able to say that. And just really hope you enjoyed the conversation. What really stood out for me is, again, that every journey has its own steps. And if you find yourself being called to try and solve a problem, that you want to go out and do something about something that you're compelled, just go and start somewhere, right? And you might end up becoming an expert in pipettes if that's something that calls you. But we're so excited to launch the season 14, loads and loads of juicy episodes coming out every single week. Every Wednesday an episode drops. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to go and leave a comment. And if you've been moved in some way or touched in some way by this episode, share with a friend. It's the best form of compliment you can give me. And as always, we always love to sign off. You are not alone. I'll see you next week. Today's episode is brought to you by Vivo Life. Now, we all know the critical importance of protein to sustain a healthy diet. And I'd love to sit here and tell you that we should all get that from whole foods. But the truth is, like me, you might be living a busy lifestyle. And I'm often running from meeting to meeting. And I was looking for the perfect protein powder that could help me sustain my energy throughout the day and also recover after my workouts. Problem is, most proteins out there are filled with sweeteners, artificial flavoring and ingredients, and because they're made from mostly dairy products, tend to not really agree with my digestive system. So that's why in 2014, I started exploring and experimenting with plant-based proteins. But the truth is, back then, the taste, the texture, the smell was just a little nasty. And so I just put up with it, because I was looking for a plant-based protein that was good for your health, backed by science, and didn't do too much harm to the planet. But in 2017, something changed. I actually came across Vivo Life. Vivo Life make 100% natural health supplement and products that deliver straight to your door via carbon neutral delivery. Now, let me tell you, I was blown away. Not only did the protein taste great, it also looked amazing, it mixed well, but beyond that, it was by far the healthiest protein on the market that I could find. The reason being is that in every serving you get 25 grams of plant-based protein, and it's not just any protein, it's fermented protein, which is amazing for digestion. On top of that, you get 6 grams of branched-chain amino acids in each serving, and you also get some turmeric extract, which is phenomenal for anti-inflammatory properties, which helps me speed up my recovery. Now, what I usually do after a workout is I'll use some Madagascan vanilla or the salted maca caramel. Those are my two favorite flavors. I'll throw in a banana, maybe some dark leafy greens, some almond milk, some water, maybe some flax seeds, shake it all up, and it tastes amazing. So if you're looking for a healthy, natural, plant-based protein that's going to get you results, tastes amazing, and does good for the planet, then head over to vivolife.co.uk and use the discount code MARK when you check out to get 10% off your first order. And remember, every purchase you make using the discount code helps support the Unconventionalists podcast. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for keeping the lights on in the studio.